over, like, generalization of that A-side defense from Missouri Baptist, right? You know it's the Vice, you know it's the Omen playing tag team, maybe a little bit overconfident on your fake out sell with the pressure also on the map, so not a good round. Weapons recovered. Money going strong here for NCSU. And so we do get a little tech pause. We get to come back to us. And I think it's a good time just to get a breather in. Again, it feels like NCSU is running away with things a little bit, even though this is the map pick of Missouri Baptist. And then again, maybe goes back to just the fact that they did change up the comp. So it's going to take some growing room. But again, Operator taking out Katashio off rip. We talked about NCSU. They find the openings and then they fail to convert. Now they're converting every opportunity. Minus this Blade Storm. Oh no. No follow-up from the team?
That's crazy. They left Polkin alone on an island that Bueno was able to get rid of. They still have to worry about the Operator. It's not going to be on this B site. No, it's going to put the smoke. But again, there's just that small amount of a gap left inside of it. You quite simply just walk through it. Don't even worry about it. Drones are going to be going up. They're confident that the clone's not going to disrupt them in any way. Cavern to plant the spike in the corner towards Boathouse. And we're fighting back for the 3v4.
Cool. And I mean, this is a thrifty way to get back into the action. Noted again, we talked about it. This squad, it's mechanics and heroics.
Wow.
And Noted is going for all for the Quadra to put Missouri Baptist right back into this map. And all it took was like a 10-second tech pause now.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is exactly what Missouri Baptist needed to get back into the driver's seat for Ascent. And this performance from Noted cannot be understated. You took them all on with just a Guardian to your name. We're going to see another timeout.
Honestly, I don't know whose this is. NCSU's, maybe? Because it just got thriftied. I mean, oh, it's Missouri Baptist. Bro, where was this timeout last round? Anyways, that was an interesting round because maybe they're trying to patch up the fact that we talked about it. Polkin kind of dived like nose deep into the A site alone. Maybe that was supposed to be a fake attempt, right? So the players could get onto the B site, but it felt a little mistimed there, right? Like, it didn't draw any of the players over. It felt like the players weren't ready to go from MBU B main. They just kind of got lucky that there wasn't really a challenge enough with that really creative smoke from Noted up front B main that allowed them to get control of that site without much contestation. So, other than that, I mean, what could Missouri Baptist be chatting up about?
I'm sure they want to figure out the right ways to get Katashio their Hunter's Fury, what they can do off the back of that. Cavern even has the Operator in their possession, right? So, again, a crazy Yoru who is crazy with the Operator, but it is attack Yoru. Always very difficult to make that work in different circumstances, but look at that. They're posted up through mid. So yeah, I think they're going to want to take this fight, smoke off tree, and see what they can walk away with, especially if they can get the ultimate orb or give Katashio the Hunter's Fury they're looking for. Ouch, ooh, and it's already starting up close. Wow. Generic. That's going to be a headache.
I mean, Nuthium at least doesn't have to worry about a headache if their head's clean off. And now, I mean, the players are getting a little divided. Their attention, Freak worrying about multiple angles. Generic would be lucky to find a kill here. Maybe timing would be good, but again, 4 HP. Difficult there, but still haven't fully cleared off this site, right? Freak could put up some heroics here, but the timing, the Hunter's Fury, all of this really clean. I mean, yes, Generic finds a kill with 4 HP, but you traded out by the Hunter's Fury, and now, I mean, the players have deep control. That's kind of the change I asked for them on Split, right? And it's all down to Briette. So he knows that A player, but where are they coming from?
Try to smoke him down, Briette. It's a good first start. Don't get spammed down by the Odin Spray. Awful way to end this comeback. 1v3. Yeah, I think they're also maybe toying with the idea that maybe this isn't going to be possible. Maybe we just hold on to our weapon and play for the exit frags. And look over to the other side. You're hearing the clone coming your direction. Briette's holding this corner for dear life.
I think it's smart. I think Briette's will be able to like force up a Vandal for somebody else, even with the save kind of penalty. And that was kind of like a...
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! No way they're taking this fight! No way they win it! Back way even further. Don't press your luck any more than you need to, right?
Flash trap destroyed.
Wow. I mean, that's crazy. They wanted the Operator. They got it. Sacrifices the Odin. I mean, attack off if it's working. It's working. This was a nice crunch, though. I was worried again when MBU paused in the mid-round after finding all of that impact, but yeah, again, keep control of the tempo, roll into the B site, and they tie us up 3-3.
That crunch was everything, right? Get that Hunter's Fury for Katashio. Not only that, but some heroic plays going out through mid. You just post Cavern up. Top mid. Spam him with the operator, hit him with the recon bolts, and just figure out where they all are and roll them down. Now we're gonna have, yet again, another investment of a Hunter's Fury through main.
Whoa.
Noted. Gonna be eaten alive, cooked to a crisp by Nuthium. Not gonna bring themselves back up to life this time either. Not dead yet. Polkin realizing that
Flash
a lot of
over,
action gonna be happening here. Yep, hit the flashbang. They get out in the nick of time, and NCSU is not gonna press their luck any further than they need to.
Nicely done. Pushing those players out of A main. I was worried NCSU was going to overstay their welcome, so the fact they keep it 5 strong here, well done. Katashio, you don't expect the Sova to be the lurk player, but done a good job. Even the clone trip and the Vice wall here, we talked about that matchup, again, between the Yoru and the Vice being a good pairing. It causes the players to rotate over, and I don't know, I mean, I think this is going to end as an A split, I'm not going to lie. But again, it's so dependent on individuals stepping up from MBU.
If there's ever individuals to make it happen, though, Polkin's definitely a great one to do that. Look at Bueno. You kick them over, they're gone. They're still alive, that's what's pivotal. They're able to put the smoke up A main that protects them from the Cavern operator and forces them out in a different direction. You left him here for so long, Katashio is going to try and sneak in through B, but they're going to commit the Steel Garden to take away the Odin, but they're not actually going in this direction, right? Freak, you left them behind, you've deposited them at Dice, but they're running low on time. They need to get on there. Cavern was the one with the spike. There's no more hope to do anything here. May as well just be trying to play for some frags wherever you can. Katashio, spraying and praying. But I'm Bueno's on the other end of that prayer. NCSU back in the lead.
Bueno just styled on Katashio there. The shrouded step over while you're suppressed. NCSU reclaimed that lead, and again, MBU calling a little messy there. The intentions weren't clear from our POV. We kind of saw the makings of an A split, but again, when you have one player entering tree alone, you have one player A main alone, they have to rely on those mechanics, and clearly NCSU is getting underestimated because they're winning out these duels. Again, this is a team that beat Tama Maroon, your reigning CVAL champs,
Yeah.
and I mean, this tag pause feels like is well placed for MBU just to get a breather because, again, need to rethink which players they are underestimating here in a lot of these duels.
Yeah, so we had this big discussion yesterday, if anyone was watching, about the Yoru and the operator, where, okay, we get that you want to play with the operator, we get that you're playing Yoru, but you're losing out on a lot of these different ways that you can play with the agent, going for those risky fights. I think we saw a little bit of that with Cavern holding for as long as they did at A main, where they're waiting, they're trying to get something with the operator, but just never comes and it never happens when it needs to. And so they're wasting a lot of time where they could have been trying to push on the side. They could have been playing off of flashes, something to help open up the doorway for their team. I think them not having the operator anymore should be able to rectify that situation and give Missouri Baptist that push and that extra firepower that they need to actually get onto the site itself. Meanwhile, for NC State, right, you commit the Hunter's Fury. Noted goes down really early on, and that, of course, that makes things really difficult. You don't have your controller to smoke cover for as long as they can, and even though they're playing Clove, right, if you're not timing it correctly, those new Clove nerfs that came in, where it's, a 45-second cooldown on their smokes, really can be felt impacted throughout the later parts of the round.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. For Missouri Baptist, they're losing Noted really, really early, and that was one of your players that was... they were your top frag, 24-20 over on Split, that 13-8 victory for map 1, and they're getting first blooded. And then that's really, like, you look at this composition, there's not much engagement utility, right? Like, the Yoru really has to play the role of that initiator, right? Like, you don't have a KO, you don't have a lot of players. Like, the Sova, maybe you shock dart them in. KJ, maybe if you're playing more practical, like we saw Santi yesterday on the Killjoy over on Pearl doing with air swarm grenades, like, those are options. But, again, with their composition, I don't want to see that kind of like lone wolf Yoru with or without an operator. Like we saw them like trying to set up, I think it was the reclear as well. Polkin like kind of like dived in off of the flash that got chucked over, for example. Like that's what I need to see. More like targeted though, because that feels like an afterthought, like a reclear, right? But if they do that from the get-go, it could be nice.
All right. Hopefully that breather is going to help out here. Slide tech pause resolved. Oh, yeah. Right, Noted, the first one to fall yet again. Another thing to talk about Noted, they've been sort of the powerhouse player for MBU on Ascent. And think about that heroics with a 4K on a Guardian. They're not going to be able to do that if they're dead, if they're gone. Cavern thankfully has some form of trade. We're really trying to make sure that these peaks happen. But Noted is so far out, they can't cover CT with their smoke. The best thing, I think, what should happen here, well, never mind. That's what should happen. Polkin lands a headshot on Generic.
Oh. And again, the late round strategies rely on heroics. Katashio
Oh my god.
First, but overstepping and traded on the second. And that didn't even really, I would say, falter the confidence in Brietz on holding this A side. Good pivot. Good flash.
Oh,
They flash themselves. Doesn't matter.
Still recovers. Still recovers and even executes onto Dusty Brietz. Been a little quiet, but a spectacular B-side Holt reminds them that this Vice still has thorns.
Wow. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I was about to say, I'm tired of you guys fighting mid. I'm gonna get the replay, right? Like, it's not been working out, right? We mentioned Noted getting first blooded time and time again with those mid engagements. I want to see Noted, like, fighting B main, fighting A main. Changes something up in that regard because with this operator, again with this proactive KO utility, they just never are in a good spot. And I think they finally listened to that advice. Maybe credited the eco, making it possible. But you gotta know I'm Buenos here, Dimensional Drift to make that hopefully clear real soon. The timing!
Bueno here! Goodness gracious! And Noted gets taken down by Generic with a shorty. They're gonna bring themselves back up to life, but my guess is if you're gonna be NC State, you just let Noted, let the timer run out, let them take their fights here, or see them with the outro. Noted! Through the wall! Does bring themselves back up to life. This is worst case scenario for NC State. Generic's gonna force out a dimensional drift of their own, sees them all in hell, and one at Jin. The very pivotal Clove, who's been a thorn in the side time and time again, ripping themselves out through the other dimension to clone to try and draw them out. But the second they make their swing, it's Polkin as that execution down on the ground. Noted. Right, you give them an inch, they're gonna take a mile.
Wow.
Missouri Baptist University comes back in style.
Every time you count them out, it's like a thrifty round right back into business. And I'm not gonna say again, we're like, Noted, don't fight mid and you'll succeed, but they fight with a team A, they get control. The ult right before the null command comes out was perfect. And it was really just kind of the fact that Noted couldn't heal up either, right? Couldn't get that pick-me-up after getting the initial kill when they came back. It kind of deterred them from taking those additional fights, but then they played off the context of their teammates, despite the reveal off the dimensional drift, despite the owl drone. It didn't matter. So, one round now from tying us up here. Weapons back in hand. Operator for Generic, though, still in tow. And Noted went back to fighting mid with Polkin. The Blade Storm maybe will help make a difference, but it still makes me weary.
It's just nerve-wracking, too. Going out through that tree smoke is going to be the fight of a lifetime here. Yep, you hear the first shot from Generic. Well, guess who's still there? Bueno. Oh, you didn't clear the corner, Polkin! Freak lights him up with the judge, and Generic continues the streak even further for NCSU. Oh, Nuthium's not missing that either. Katashio, thankfully, might be able to bring something back for the squad. But look at Cavern, right? They snuck all the way up the Yoru lurk.
Cutting through.
Your Clove this time, I think, died deep enough towards
in the right
tree.
position.
Yeah, there you go. They got the smoke on tree, so Katashio could get a safe passage to A. But this looks nice. This is like the Cavern like we saw over on Split, right? You're expecting them to jump up the window, but they're in your face instead. A flash Brietz. They don't know.
Oh my gosh. Okay. It was close, but Brietz is smart.
Ooh.
Wow. They even tried to play for the crowds. They tried to play to surprise Cavern. Oh my god!
Oh no!
An operator back in their hands, but you gate crash into Freak! Thankfully though, Katashio had the immediate trade to give MBU the tied 5-5 ascent.
Yeah. Get a replay again. NCSU did a good job holding on to tree, but it was just, I would not have gone searching for the kill here, right? Generic set you up so well that they weren't going to clear that close corner, right? And then you just push forward. And that last moment, you could tell Katashio was aware Freak could be flanking, right, through main, and the gate crash just kind of confirms it there. So we're tied 5-5. Economy shattered here a little bit for NCSU. Few weapons in hand, but nothing to write home about here as they try to get to their 6th. Beat the other team to it first, and as a result, Generic. Ooh?
I don't think we talked about either. Dusty committing the lockdown. Yeah, that's
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, dicey prospects here, so MBU is all just trying to sell the fake for as much as they can. Noted. Gonna take their first blood. Revenge Right in through mid. Oh my gosh. Generic head rip off their shoulders. Briots. The Arcros may have been good, but they're still here in hell. Okay. Gonna make it look clean, but Polkin's gonna make it squeaky. That is MBU taking down one last piece of the puzzle. They slot that in. They're gonna be 6.5.
Yeah, unless Nuthium can put up some heroics, but looking difficult here. Crossfires upon crossfires. Oppressive utility into heaven. Now look, Katashio's like ready to shoot any dart, or they're throwing their own dart light up. They're making them up on the fly. And is it gonna land? Wait.
Wait, where's it?
Where's it going? Right. I don't think that's where they wanted it to be, and as a result, Nuthium gonna find one. They're just cutting the pie, one slice after another.
Oh my gosh. Unfortunately, this pie also has an operator looking in this direction too. I always hate it when I get an operator on my pie, Zobi.
Pie fights back.
Yeah.
But yeah, this felt like, again, we mentioned in CSU their coordination's usually pretty on point. This felt like, again, they got a little fragmented, relied on some heroics here. I liked the bait out from Riot and Hell, but I don't know what happened with the two players above, I think from Heaven, that tried to swing it simultaneously, and Polka just mowed down both. So, again, maybe the weapon differential kind of favoring their Missouri Baptist. Claiming the lead, looking to make an advantage here before the half is up. That 7-5. See? The plan is, and you don't have a jet, so no flash and dash into tiles. Looks like, I love these simplified hits from MBU. 5B main.
It's just simple. Don't overcomplicate it if you don't need to. But that sheer wall is where things are going to get a little tricky. Jump back over it, bring it up. And they're still here, right? But so is all of NCSU. Dimensional drift. Get location, get callouts, figure out what's happening here. Maybe try and flash them out.
Uh-oh.
Over something crazy. What's kind of crazy here, though, is the battle that's happening in all of the different directions. Camera's going to be taken down. Spike's still going to be planted. Katashio hanging out in B main with that Odin.
Impressive. I mean, that 0 point got all, or at least most of the members for MBU, right? So that's why NCSU was so confident on the rotation. And the fact that there still were that many players and they still made their way onto the B side, got the spike plant down, and now get to play in these off positions. Like Katashio, I would have played for the late flank. They gave their position away. And NCSU. Oh no.
Barrel. And look at how far Katashio is. They've got to run back over towards the site.
Wow.
Briotz catches them off guard. A little Steel Garden celebration. NCSU stays off the MBU half advantage. It's 6-6.
Yeah, again, this initial fight was so clean, just challenging, you know, slowly, methodically that utility, but post-plant falls apart a lot. From, again, Katashio maybe mistiming on the spray down, thinking they were deep challenging the main. Then just Dusty and Polkin not playing together there on site. So with that, we get the 6-6 half, and we talked about how their communication needs to be on point, but so does their connection. Am I right, Sam? And exit lag is ensuring better and faster connection routes from PCs to game servers, which can eliminate connection issues with a single button press. So make sure to check them out. You know, sub with up to 50% off, depending on your location, with code GGWP. Check out Exit Lag, one of the official partners for CVAL and CLOL this year. But 6-6, this pistol, so pivotal, Sam.
So pivotal. Never squad can take it here is going to find themselves in a much better position. Oh, Katashio is the util dump of the century. Cavern has the swing out into Boathouse, taking down as many as they can. And that's a great way to show your strength. Cavern in 1 HP, not a problem.
I mean, you're challenging the site with the KJ2 on a pistol. It just gets run down and it doesn't matter. Cavern, gate crash back to boat. They're good to go. You don't need a sentinel on site. You got a duelist. And they know how to fight. Pistol round goes away at Missouri Baptist. The Spartans lay siege to the city, make their way back in. Interesting buy up here. The Ares for Katashio, truly embracing the Sova Spear, but 2 sniper rifles. Looks like one's posted up tree, one's posted up mid, maybe for top. You're expecting maybe a quick mid pivot, but no, it's A main and noted. The trade. Nuthium, I feel like, has been the one finding noted in like so many of these fights. It's got to be studied.
You know they got to be feeling some of that pain. Even further beyond that, though, Polkin keeping an eye on tree with the outlaw. Cavern protecting them, too, with an outlaw of their own. And remember what I was talking about, Zobi? Or what's the outlaw situation going to look like? What's the operator situation going to look like? we might be getting a sneak peek at it right now between our two duelists.
I mean, this is Cavern just baiting the Bulldog, and I love this intuitive smoke out from Ambueno just to recover the weapon. Set them up for this A-split. I mean, I love a Sentinel lurk just like any other player, but I think I need Briette to be playing with the squad here. Unless maybe I'm wrong and it's not going to be the A-split. They look like they're heading back towards B, which is a little nerve-wracking. I mentioned that Ares for Katashio. A good reveal, and the hopes for this round could get shredded. Just like that Ares can through the small gap now in the Ascent wall after the rework, but still one nonetheless.
30 seconds left.
All right. Recon dart inside a tree. Generic seen by the alarm bot. Katashio snap back over towards market. Oh, that's where Generic getting the Bulldog comes in massively, but they got to keep going through Dusty. So much around them, so much surrounding. Dusty may have gotten a double kill, but time running against the clock in CSU. It's 2-2. Nuthium's picked up the Ares. Swarm back on the side. Clear your corners, Cavern. With the Ghost. One more to go. Nuthium at 30 HP. Vulcan gonna hold this angle. Over on the other side, another Outlaw. Swing into it. It's just one shot to get rid of Nuthium. Cavern had to do it through a wall bang. The Spartans managed to eke by the anti-eco. Cost them near everything to make it happen.
Again, calling for NCSU clean there. Sets them up for an opportunity to convert that thrifty round, but MBU trades come through. And again, Dusty has been really good at eating these eco frags. I mean, look at this. The fact that you're able to find the full HP Briettes from far away, like, I would not be winning that fight with the long-range Spectre. So that's clean. Cavern with the clutch getting the Dimensional Drift here is also clean. But in reality, this should be an NCSU round, right? There's not much of a bonus here. It's criminal to even call it that for Missouri Baptist. So North Carolina State University, full rifles in hand. They leave their lurk player Briettes, but beyond that, it's full sight set on A. Whoa.
All right, Katashio. You don't get to see this very often.
Why are you fighting through one way?
Making sure to keep them alive. Yeah, like you said, no util, no nothing. You're just taking your chances. You're taking your ones, and you're giving them away too, Zoe, right? There was no one else following up with that. Now I'm Bueno seen again just through the narrowest margins of these smokes. A huge fumble here from NCSU. MBU working cleanly through this bonus.
Deploying drone.
I mean, I said it was criminal to call a bonus. I said there should be no universe where NCSU loses this, but if you're fighting dry through a one-way or solo swinging through another close smoke when Briette's is 10 HP back in spawn, then yeah, you're gonna throw away the round that should have been yours to keep things close. Give a 3-round lead to Missouri Baptist. I mean, Spike's not recovered, you're in the corner. I'm expecting a shock dart there after this gets a reveal. And you can take one down with you, so they can't bonus all of your rifles over, but still, what a round to not have go your way. And it was here. I mean, yeah, you flash over one, but I don't think that flash was well placed, it seems.
No, it didn't. I don't even think it cleared through all of that smoke. And obviously, I didn't blind Katashio. They were perfectly fine. It may have caught noted, which is why they didn't go for the re-swing immediately, but Katashio holding that ground for as long as they did, yeah, it was just a massive tailspin. We're back into another timeout. Yeah, this time for NC State. Fumbled the bag on that one, and they really need to get their heads back on straight. It was throwing themselves one after another into the one-way smoke with very little utility when you have a KO and a Sova. Shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, you're droning it. Like, get them out of A main. But I definitely need a timeout here for North Carolina State University. Again, you lost 3 rounds in a row here in the first half. You'll have a second timeout to spare later on when it is getting towards overtime or towards 13th round for either side, but for the time being, starting to look at these ultimates as well. I think that's maybe what the strategy crafting is going to be about. We talked about this yesterday, like the difference between a team that takes a timeout on eco round versus a rifle round. I think this is when you take a timeout for an eco, right? You're one off from Dimensional Drift, one off from Nuthium's Hunter's Fury. The Stinger Force, I think, definitely could put in some work here, but Dimensional Drift for Cavern, noted 3 off. I like this duo fighting A main, and I'm hoping it's successful again.
Here it is, another one-way smoke. This time, thankfully, right, we're getting some more usage of the utility, the 0-point knife. No one swinging through it, and you even get Cavern, who had that outlaw.
I mean, you wouldn't expect, I'm Bueno on that nasty off angle. As you're walking down mid. Noted though, again, we talked about this A main presence. Punishes again, but leaves a wide gap over through tree. Look, Kitashio's starting to realize it. I mean, at this point, you want to take deep spawn, wait for your team, or at least communicate to them that they might be coming in through your own spawn. Dusty, about to be in for a rude awakening or a double kill.
Falls on their shoulders. Ah, the shot just couldn't connect except for on the freak. Generic's gonna be able to upgrade to the Vandal, but you're at 5 HP, buddy. You gotta even go and grab the spike in very dicey positions. Yeah, Katashio is gonna keep jumping through this. Good shot from Generic. As good as it might be, Polkin still has the killing blow. Missouri Baptist University, double digits time.
There we go. And again, I like how this squad's playing it again. Like the Killjoy, you know, I feel like it's a go-to sentinel on this site or this map. But I feel like, again, with the current meta, it's like there's no more anchor sentinels. It's again, play off site, play retake with your team. And so I like the idea of, okay, getting aggressive on the other side of the map here. Which when it's noted again, who is having a first rough half, now kill hungry, won the MVP and is now putting up those numbers time after time. Yeah, let them continue fighting, taking that domain. This though, I don't know. I mean, your jet can get out, but fighting solo here.
Oh boy, okay,
Can't dash away.
Here's the first of the Hunter's Fury. Polkin is dancing around that, even with the callouts. But once Generic rips themselves out of the dimension, they're ripping the defenses apart of MBU. Desperately what they needed. Spam through the smoke. Gonna take a heck of a lot of damage. Noda's gonna keep doing it again. They may not have confirmed any kills, but look at all the chip damage they're doing. And then once they do swing through the smoke, Nuthium still gets it. How does that happen? Bring themselves back up for the dead freak. Playing out of their mind. NCSU back in the fight.
Talk about controlling the tempo. Generic throws themselves into the fight, guides the entry off the chaotic rolling thunder. This was crazy. Not only the fact that they get, with the shots, with the shock darts out on Nuthium, who we mentioned, but Nuthium was like Noted's kryptonite, but then they bring themselves back to try again. Like at that point, just stay seated, my dude. Like save it for another round. You're still up by 3, but looks like not much has changed. They're still gonna go for this jet challenge. System dimensional drift really can't spoil it, but a 0 point could.
Oh my gosh, the dash didn't get them out of there, but they survived the hailstorm of bullets anyway, Sophie. I cannot believe that Polkin is alive to fight another day.
Wow.
Take flight.
Again, B-main fight not really going their way. Noted's rejoined them thinking this is going to be a B-split re-hit. So Sova left solo towards the A site. This is smart. I mean, Dusty's 2 off as well from the Killjoy ultimate. Nice reveal on Debris. That's the lurking sentinel though, so you're not going to write that off. I was hoping as an A exec, but it draws 2 over?
Yeah,
I don't know how I feel about that. You know they've been lurking.
I mean, Cavern's been kind of doing crazy things on their own, but even with this, what looks like might be some form of B-side hit, yeah, it's finally going to
They gotta know.
come to fruition. You're seen by the recon bolt. You've been flashed out. 0.9 mollies all across the field. Had to land their killing blow, but once NCSU's got back into the driver's seat, it's been so rough for MBU to fight back onto the site for the retake. Noda's still going to grab one of their own, but once I'm Bueno makes their presence known, it's Katashio going to have to be the one to bring them down to heal. It's a 2v3, but look at what Dusty's working with. They don't even have a weapon.
Yeah, there's not one anywhere except for CT to recover, so maybe a little bit of a delay here for Katashio while Dusty recovers a weapon, but again, this is winnable because I'm Bueno pushing into CT here, so 2v3 here. The double player is offside. I don't think it'd be expected. The flash of the Arcro is perfect. Dusty in a corner alone gets one and away without getting traded as well. To make their way onto site.
Yeah, they're running out of time. They try to run ahead of the Thorns, clearing through Broadhouse. Nuthium, not only the kryptonite of Noted, but the kryptonite of MBU. NCSU. It's 2 more rounds to go before they tie this map of ascent.
Again, a nice re-hit. Maybe again, it felt like a little bit of an over-rotation from Missouri Baptist off of that Sova dart over towards A main. Like, you saw the Vice. You know the Vice lurks. So the fact that not that just the Killjoy, but Noted also left B site. Like, we saw Cavern. We know they can anchor a site. We saw it on the pistol round. But with that much utility coming their way, it was a little bit difficult. No way out. So economy a little dented here. Some Bulldogs, a Judge. See what they can do with it here. Maybe a mid duel looks like Polkin toying with the idea. But again, it's I'm Bueno. This off angle almost claims another life.
Yeah, Polkin does get out of there. All right, but it costs you your dash to make that happen. You're still going to do a couple of jump peeks to have that realization that I'm Bueno's on the high ground. How long do they stay up there and hold this angle, hold this corridor, where someone else fights back? Cavern can't do anything when they swing out of there, except for try and clear out the smoke with the judge. Maybe try to play for some cheeky distraction tactics with closing the portal. Yeah, it's NCSU taking their time through the map, poking and prodding at the weaknesses of MBU. They know they might be on this lighter buy, but that does not detract. Katashia, buddy, I feel you on that one, man.
And that would have been huge. They would have seen that they're lining up here for a potential A split, right? Because this time it's your not just your Vice here. Generic, probably getting ready to flash clear my main. Katashia should be able to make jiggle contact at some point here, but will they be able to get out unscathed is the question.
Ooh.
30 seconds left.
By breaking a lot of this utility, that's going to be massive, but the paranoia is going to force them into tree. Not only that, but Cavern to push so far forward. They wanted to try and pop off with a judge, but the null command is going to stop them from getting away. That's going to hurt so bad. Nuthium just knew, though. Watch and wait for someone to swing out from the little bit of the smoke in the doorway through tree, and the lockdown plan from Dusty, Vulcan to try and defend it, but not only has NCSU won that round, they got rid of the lockdown, and now they put in a 1-round differential against Missouri Baptist.
Yeah, I think they're, like, maybe Katashia risking it's okay, but I probably wouldn't have after Cavern fell the way they did. I expected to get crash and spawn, but then the null command kind of ripped it away from them. They couldn't get out after fighting for a kill. So at that point, what is a 3v4, 3v5? And you're still popping the lockdown? The fight came naturally, it felt like, from NCSU into tree. Now 1 round separating you guys, your economy. It's so weird that MBU is able to win these 50 rounds, so I don't want to say anything this round for NCSU and their chances at winning it.
Ooh. Here's the rough part, though. If you're Katashio, you're the one in mid, seen by the recon ball. They get out, though, thankfully, because Polkin has to play out of their mind with the Guardian. Again, I imagine, though, if you're MBU, you're just playing safe. You're playing for whatever information that you can gather off your recon bolt and not do anything crazy beyond that. I think, too, we hear the Blade Storm being popped. Yeah, Cabin was given the Guardian. So a lot more options and a lot more firepower spread across the way. Katashio peeking out through mid, going to use the Owl drone. Spotted a lot of the NCSU squad here. They might be trying to run it down, but now this is where Polkin's going to have to play out of their mind. Right, this jet, no dash available, but the Blade Storm comes up big, gives them access back to their dash, and they're going to hide up in the skies above. Overwatch casts down below, Generic and Brietz. It's just these two players left standing. For NCSU, they crash their way onto the site. Briet's gonna have to rotate back over, but Cavern holding very quietly here. And as long as they can get Brietz, they'll delay the spike plant.
30 seconds
Maybe
left.
even go, oh, they don't even, may not even have to do that. You just get rid of Generic. Pick up the Phantom, figure out where Brietz is. You know that the door was closed. You know they're on the site. Go out from heaven above, flashbang down to the ground below. Figure out where this Vice is. And then the rest of the squad just collapses in on top of them. Right, they have the numbers advantage. For Brietz, it was an ace or nothing. Well, closer to an ace. 4K or nothing.
What do you say?
Yeah, I mean, when you got players like that, weapon disadvantage, just throw more players into the 1v4 until it sticks. And that's why I said in the pre-round that I wasn't going to speak. You know, the number of, like, eco conversions for MBU against NCSU right now is off the charts. And mentioned the Blaze from the impact it had in opening up the round. And again, some corners not cleared are lethal, and Cavern takes advantage of that to convert. Now the weaponry is fine. I have the operator, the dimensional drift here. I don't think NCSU is to be counted out here, even though it's one off of map series points, because look at all the ults they have. Their own dimensional drift, their own Hunter's Fury, Steel Garden as well, which I think is why the Vice is playing here on A with the entire squad. But it doesn't matter if you're picking before any of that info's come your way.
Or even using a Steel Garden. And Noda's gonna get rid of Generic, who is using the dimensional drift.
Oh no.
Briet's just gonna dry peek inside of a smoke tree. Yeah, that's him losing their head to Polkin. Now you're looking at what 2 players are left. This is not the best of odds here, regardless of who you are. Somehow, Cavern, yeah, right? Anyone makes their swing. Bueno's doing whatever heroics they possibly can, but now it is Missouri Baptist University match and series point.
Yeah, that felt like a last hurrah. I mean, you got some money to buy up here, but you utilized all 3 of those ultimates that I said you could layer to come back from things. And again, it felt like they were a little bit overconfident, right? Briet's fighting there into tree into 2 players. You know, they don't have weapons. Right clicks do a lot of damage there up close in the smoke. found out the hard way. And again, Freak swinging it before they truly had information on where the operator was. They didn't even know that there was an operator for Cavern. Just, again, a lot of slip-ups that have now led to a 9-12 opportunity here for MBU to put them away early, to eliminate them from CVAL Championship, because this is the lowers.
And one more round to go for Riot. At first blood, Generic to follow through with it. The attack looking crisp from NCSU. This B-side exec, their bread and butter. If Katashio can give Noted the chance to pick me up and fight back onto site, this could be Noted's moment to shine. Thankfully, Generic is there. With a trade, you've got to run them down. You can't leave them alive. And through Market, the rest of the squad's coming back through, but it's Cavern there. It's only an opera. Oh my God, Noted! And who better to close things out for Missouri Baptist than the Clove Extraordinaire? 13-9 on Ascent. Missouri Baptist moving in through the lower bracket.
No question, if there's an MVP, it's Noted. Map 1, top of the leaderboard after that play. And they were even having a rough first half, if you remember, right? They were getting oppressed first blooded time and time again in those mid-fights. So to have that strong of a turnaround on the second half to go 23-18 is impressive. The 2-0, a 13-8, 13-9 for Missouri Baptist. Unfortunately, NC State Red getting eliminated here. Their short stay in the lower bracket. A great attempt, nonetheless, a great showing for their school for the first real time making this deep into the collegiate scene, to say the least. And again, map pool, a little rough to start on Split in my eyes, but overall, it's just, again, mechanics right now off the charts for MBU.
Yeah, playing out of their minds, right? And even in moments where things were getting really shaky, things were getting really rocky for this squad, and it looked like their backs were going up against the wall, especially right when you have a 6-6 first half on Ascent after you had a dominant performance on Split, where it was 9-3, eventually at one point even 11-3. It's those kind of moments where you look at Ascent, you look at this could be a moment where they may fumble Ascent and bring us, and NC State was going to bring us into that map 3 of Lotus. That MB just got their heads back on. They took a couple of timeouts. They figured out what strategy they needed to make work for themselves. And obviously, when you have heroics by players like Noted, by players like Polkin, and the adaptability of this squad to be able to switch between these roles from map to map, really just goes to show the flexibility and what this squad could do as they continue their run through the lower bracket.
Not only that, but if you got to keep an eye on this team for their eco rounds, like the number of conversions off the charts when it should have been a shoo-in for the team to come back, to close the gap, to sew up and mend the wounds of previous rounds. But all in all, your champions for today's broadcasted match between MBU Spartans and NC State Red are going to be Missouri Baptist, moving on to see who they have to compete against later on. But overall, Sam, I mean, it's a Sunday. We're not going to keep you guys tied up much longer. This is only best of 3 for the day, unfortunately. Again, it's a holiday. A lot of teams rescheduling to later in the week. So make sure to check out those respective schools' broadcast channels. And we will be back next weekend to continue to pick things up in the upper bracket, the lower bracket, to make sure we bring you through all of the CVAL Championship action. I've been Zobi. My partner in crime has been Sam Talks for the day. We hope you have a great rest of your weekend.